Wrong location,
Yeah, let's go
RJ.
down.
Put it in the middle.
Oops.
So I can
You
take
can.
Oh, that's a good one.
Make it closer. I don't know what's the.
No, this is
Visibility.
No, this is purposely.
Oh, it's not
showing
wide
speeding
angle, that's
train.
why.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's not wide
Alright,
angle.
let's go.
Come closer then.
Yeah, so you
Come,
come
come.
closer. It's only taking.
Actually, you need to go.
No, please. You two are.
Oh, okay.
Go.
Come.
Come, you can watch that as well.
It will not fit. So just start. And the important thing is to capture the audio, right?
Oh, recycling. That's
Something
a good one.
Something like that. Okay. I'll do
Nature.
this.
Yeah, these. Just go ahead and put them in. Oh, there's
I'm always close
I
to
put
him.
that up
Don't be shy.
because that'll recognize because the. But we can talk about the other one as
Yeah.
far as efficient manufacturing is
Is it
a
recording
good
now?
topic.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Oh, okay. So let's start with your questions, or if you have anything that you want to go through.
Okay, well, my topic is to create a story that would be interesting to people in Turkey about the Turkish community here in the United States. And I think, like, I've read a lot about your website and what you're doing with all the Turkish programming, and it seems really interesting. And I want to know, I kind of read that you started that because you first wanted to film the choir and then I guess a lot more things became interesting to people, like Turkish language TV. And what has the overall reception been? Have you noticed a stronger Turkish community because of this? Do people come together and want to volunteer for the show?
Right.
Yeah, actually, the Turkish version of our programming came later because initially it's an English language program. Because the idea is just discussing, previously why we do this programming. Because whether it's, we're not government employees. We're all volunteers. We're not making money out of this. Probably we're just spending money out of our pockets too. But so we felt like. I think Turkish Americans are kind of misunderstood, and I think if you want to make a programming saying that we are the Turks, I don't think people will be interested. We're just Turkish Americans, and so we want to tell our own stories, and I think then the Americans will understand and enjoy some of the richness we bring to this community, and so. I mean, there are other communities from Afghanis. They do Afghani, television programming, their music and dances, and Iranians do something else. But the nature of the media has changed because people, they want to get information about their communities. They can get it readily available 24/7. So, and if we're trying to compete with our own Turkish media, we won't be able to do that, and that's why the sense of our programming is more like evergreen programming, so anybody can watch anytime and can still enjoy it. So it's more like over the years turned into a 5-year sort of cultural archiving of people who passed through and the events that we've been through. So we want an American audience just when they switch channels and find this programming, and it's in English, and they can start watching it, and they can learn something about our community. So, and then the Turkish programming started because I think some of the members felt that their children, they do need something like a Turkish activity, and this is where we are now.
When you guys started, did you get in all the other parts of the Turkish community involved, like the Turkish American? I guess what is the big association called in DC? The
American Turkish
DC, yes.
Yeah.
Did you get them involved from the beginning, or was that kind of something that happened after?
Oh, it did happen a little bit after, but as you said, initially it was just like the chorus activity, and then normally, we didn't question why we're doing it, and we felt like there's an occasion here. Of course, having the facilities of the Fairfax Public Access is an incentive to do programming, and human beings are feeling like they have to reach out and touch someone, and they have stories to tell, and the public will get to know you. So I think that's we didn't sit down and we didn't make a certain business plan saying that this is what we're going to be doing in such and such time. It's more like a as time goes on, we try to utilize the opportunities that happen in our society, in the Turkish community. Festivals, events, dances, visiting lecturers, book writers. I mean, our stories, basically. But many Turks in America, they feel like, as a society, their Turkishness is not well understood or misunderstood. So we felt like this could be an opportunity. Of course, we have a secret motive. We want to rule the world, but that's this is off camera. You shouldn't. I can talk to our host and saying that what involves her in this activity.
There's nothing to add much what he says. That's the what they say.
Yeah.
I can add a few things. I'm not sure if the question's still in the why we are making these programs or how this is helping to the community. Which aspect you wanna let's say get more information, more perspective.
I'm kind of curious, like the community response from.
Community response.
Yeah, and kind of, especially with like maybe the way people or the way Americans look at the Turkish community, like you said a little bit, like the kind of response there, how the Turkish American community is different from the Turkish people.
I see. Turkish American community different than Turkish people.
Yeah.
I see. Well,
that's not an easy question, but first of all, let's understand this. I don't think Turkish Americans will go home and they say, oh my God, there isn't a Turkish American program. Somebody should do it. We should do it. We are the only people who felt like doing it. So I don't think there's a direct demand saying that do this. I mean, nobody calls and say, we need your programming. And I don't know if we stop doing it, people would say, why did you stop? We really enjoyed it. And it's more like we are getting our message to them. It's as a matter of fact, between our community, they said, oh, it's a good thing you're doing, right?
Yeah, we always hear, oh, you are doing such a great, important, things, and we like it. Its quality is good or getting better. We hear these kind of things as a compliment, and also I think they have sincere feedback to us. But as Ercüment said, nobody said we need such a TV. And one of the things about the community TVs, usually you bring the programming that traditional TV stations will not bring. I mean, either they will not find it, attractive to get enough commercials, or they could be controversial and they don't want to get into that. And the community TVs allows the citizens to come and communicate, convey their messages the way they want. So that's why I think there are a lot of international community TVs. They have their voice heard. But apart from being voice heard, what we felt that at least the original English programming, we should approach to showing Turkish culture the way it is, not really a particular bias. As Ercüment said, we are not tourism officers, we are not government employees, or we don't have any particular income from any particular interest group. So we felt that if we share the Turkish culture, the Turkish life, the way it is today, we will open a window to the American community or the community in DC areas to start with. Then the internet helped us. It is not only on these channels that cable TV viewers have, but we also now being watched from Australia. suddenly the Turkish community over there were interested with our programming. We started exchanging programming with them. They did something like on Tulip Festival, which is very historic tulip festivals, Ottoman period. So they sent to us, we showed here. Then we have some other Turkish Americans lives in the United States. They said, for instance, a person from New York, a very nice new star shining. She does jazzy music, and she sent her music videos to us. And then there's a choreographer, famous choreographer. I say famous, but she has also done some controversial dancing. And normally nobody covers that, so we sponsored. We interviewed with her. In fact, last week there was a show performance here in DC. So again, these things perhaps a standard or commercial TV wouldn't show. Even a Turkish television commercial or state they wouldn't show. But we are able to bring programming that is from a section that are less likely exposed to the public.
Actually, you can even say that we do not target our own ethnic community directly. What we want is a Turkish American, when a friend of their daughter comes and says, "Oh, you're Turkish American," and we want them to say like, "Yeah, take a look at this programming. You can learn something about Turkey." I mean, to satisfy their curiosity. We want to be, in the end, a resource to the public at large. First of all, as the society is changing, and recently, they don't want the world problems to come to America's shores. They don't want this sort of, my problems in Bhutan, my problem in, Southeast Asia, my problem in Vietnam, and Turkey, and everything. They don't want these problems to be brought here. So I think cultural issues can be brought here. And if we feel like there's a misunderstanding of what Turks are and what they do, this could be true. I mean, this is a very overused metaphor, but we want to be like a bridge between. Basically, we want the Turkish community to become our agents in the sense that they would bring their American friends to watch this programming and recommend this programming. So we consider them not our spectators, but our sort of like our franchise members.
Then we also start seeing collaboration. For instance, Dr. Hancock here, he does great program on environment and green, greening and energy, renewable energy. So he invited once and asked us a few things about Turkey, and our programming, how it is related to environment. And so I think it started a communication among the communities and interest groups, which is very, very helpful. As Arjuman said, we are going beyond Turkey.
Let's go on down. Let's just see because we got.
Because they get very curious. Like in 50 years, we turned the West into a dust bowl, but whereas in Turkey for 5,000 years they are growing crops. So, what is it that Turks do different that's more sustainable than rapacious industrial methods employed here? So
that's a good one, yeah.
Of course, what helps us now that in the last 10 years there's more coverage of Turkish activities and politically, economically. They're turning into a true partner of United States in the region. And the public in general, they are more curious about Turkish subjects and themes, and they want to know about Turkey and Turks. So
no, leave it there.
And to me, when you say Turkish Americans, there are two types of Turkish Americans. The one like us who immigrated, either for different reasons, like came here to study and had a life back then. And then Turkish Americans who were born in here, like our kids. So of course our problems are unique to our like for me, like I want to see different programs than my kids. But also as a parent, I want my kids to be able to watch Turkish TV in Turkish, so they feel they don't feel like alone. There are people like them and they feel comfortable with their cultural and Turkish origin.
Yep.
Very good point. And that is particularly our Turkish programming started. We felt the need that the new generation is coming, and they should hear on television or in media that it's their voice coming from this community, not from satellite from Turkey. Yes, that is important. There are much more attractive programming over there, much more money spent and so on. But nobody from Turkey would come here and interview a 35 years spending time here, a hairdresser, and his life story.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are able to bring those kind of community characters.
Well, there's a definitely local color, and as you know, Turks have horns and tails, and Americans don't know anything about it. They would like to show this, but one other, I mean, just don't forget what you're going to say, but one other thing is,
Did you bring a couple of
unfortunately,
those,
with all
DVDs?
this internet and whatnot,
Yeah, that's,
people
you
who
gotta get your
emigrate to a
voicemails, 'cause,
country,
I left that.
a lot of
Now you
things are
can't show you how to
frozen.
do the
It's like
DVD.
as the country progresses at different
can't show
speeds,
you
goes
how to
into
do the
different
DVD.
areas.